live. My name is Lee and I'm one of the team leader in IQI Australia and I'm your host tonight. And if you have not crossed paths with IQI, IQI Australia is Perth-based real estate agency and we specialize in off-the-plan project marketing, particularly in apartments as well as house and land packages. So IQI was established, IQI Australia was established in 2014 under the name Trident Property Partners. In 2019, it became the first Australia office in IQI network, a global real estate agency with 15,000 real estate agents across 15 countries. So IQI Global is the largest real estate network in Southeast Asia and the Middle East and North Africa region. And tonight we have a special guest, no other than our IQI director, Lily Chong, is going to share a very exciting topic with us. So Lily has been in the real estate area for more than 10 years now, and she has helped a lot of investor and home buyer to find a dream home and build a property portfolio as well. And tonight, the topic, well, in our very humble opinion, is one of the best investment scheme currently available in the market, in Australian market. That is NRAS, National Rental Affordability Scheme. So just share about my personal encounter with this scheme. When I first heard about it, that was back in, I think, 2000 or 2011. That was the first time I heard about NRAS through a property expo seminar. Yeah. And then that time I was like, this sounds interesting and it's almost too good to be true. So back then I didn't do anything, but then 2 years later, and Lily introduced that scheme to me again. So with her encouragement, I bought my first NRAS investment that is in Queensland, actually. I didn't get to see the property. I have never seen it, touch it, but this property has given me a lot of positive income right from day one. So that is a property that I don't have to worry about it at all. And there's zero vacancy in the last 6 years now, probably. Yeah, six years and a bit. So it has always tenanted, rental yield is good, tax return is great. So one of the best investment scheme that I have actually bought. And since then, that wasn't my last NRAS investment as well. I'll continue to buy when there is property that come on the market with NRAS. Yeah, we will be definitely the first one to sort of get our fingers on it. So, and yeah, so it's a very exciting scheme that I think most of us should, at least have a look or have a listen. Also, during the presentation, if you have any question, please feel free to leave a comment in our comment section and we will try to get onto it. Time is limited. It's only a quick half an hour to 45 minutes presentation. So if we didn't get to answer your question, don't worry, we'll get in touch with you. So without any further ado, I'll pass the floor to Lily, who will introduce this exciting topic for us tonight. And over to you, Lily. Thank you.
Much, Leanne. Let me set up the scheme first. Leanne, give me a signal if the slide is okay, the screen.
Yep, it's perfect. Yep, very good.
Okay, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Let me see the screen. Seems like the screen is a bit funny here. Okay. So my name is Lily. I'm the director for IQI Australia. Like Leanne said, tonight we would like to share with you, in our opinion, one of the best property investment scheme available in the market, that is NRAS. Before I start, please allow me to do a quick disclaimer. So this presentation is only intended to inform and for general reference only. So everyone have their financial objective and goals. Therefore, before you make any investment decisions, please seek for independent personal advice. All the numbers and calculations are purely for reference only, and this is always different case by case for each individual situations. The objective is just to compare the same product with and without NRAS. Prior to making investment decisions, please again consult with your professional team, including your financial planner, accountant, lawyer, and so on. So, what is NRAS? NRAS stands for National Rental Affordability Scheme. So this is an Australian government's affordable schemes housing initiative delivered in partnerships with the states and territory governments. There are three main purposes for the schemes. First, to increase the supplies of the new and affordable rental housing. Second, reduce the rental by at least 20% below the market rates for the low and average income family. And the third, encourage large-scale investment and stimulate the supplies of the new housing. NRAS actually started in 2008, and there were supposed to be 5 open calls for the NRAS applications. Unfortunately, in 2014-15 budget, the government decided it would not proceed with the round 5, that the schemes would be capped at 38,000 allocations. And all the NRAS allocations will end by mid of 2026. That basically means there will only be around 38 properties in Australia come with these schemes allocations. That is also why not many of you have ever heard about NRAS, because 38,000 of properties in the whole Australia is not many. So let me explain how this NRAS works, right, through a very short story. Michelle is a fresh young graduated. She's working as an office administrator for an accounting firm. Her incomes, the annual income is $51,000, which is around $4,250 per month, $4,250 per month before the tax. And after the tax will be around $3,578 per month. So she's currently paying $1,500 per month as a renter in this 2-bedroom apartment. So the renter is basically taking up like 35% of her income. If I use her incomes after tax, right, that can go up to around like 42%. Back then in Australia, there was around 1.5 million people going through similar situations. They spend more than 30% of their incomes for rental. And the governments claim these people are having housing stress. As you know, Australia is a welfare country and they look after their people. Government is very keen to help this group of people like Michelle, who is going through this like housing stress. Although the governments can actually help them by building more housing, but as you know, that it will be even costly. So governments come up with a different solutions, that is NRAS schemes. So instead of building more, the governments invite ordinary people like you and me as an investor to participate in this kind of scheme. Even foreigner investors are welcome. First, the governments will pick in the suburbs where there is rental demand with good access to all amenities like shops, school, hospital, employment, and public transport. Then they will allocate NRAS credits to the qualified property. Like I said, the government looks after their people. Not every area will get approval and not all properties will be approved as well. There is also quota restrictions for each postcode. The property must be brand new and in good view. NRAS property are privately owned and definitely not government housing or state housing. As an investor, the only requirements, or perhaps two, are you need to give your tenant rent discounts, okay? And you can't buy as an owner occupied home, which means that you cannot live in the property yourself. As for Michelle, the benefit she gets is discounted rent. Her rents will be 20% cheaper than the market rate. In this case, instead of paying $1,500 per month, she is only paying now $1,200 per month. That is $300 savings per month and $3,600 per year. This is actually pretty a good savings. As for landlords, although he is receiving 20% less from the renter, which is around $3,600 per year, in return, the government will provide a tax-free NRAS incentive to him that is around $11,270 per year. Just a quick calculations on your head now. Do you think Mr. Landlord is better off or worse off? So there are two key elements of the incentive. 25% from the state or territory governments, which is around $2,870 for this, let's say for this financial year, per dwellings per year will be paid directly into your nominated bank accounts. 75% from federal or the Australian governments are paying through income tax return as a tax offset. The refundable tax offset, in short form we call RTO certifications, will be issued at the end of financial year, and you just pass the certificate to your accountant to claim the money back. So that is how it sums up $11,270. NRAS is not a new program. It started in year 2008. That is 12 years ago, and then the tax-free incentive was only $8,000 back then. What happened with the incentive since it first launched? Look at the diagram. So the white color referring to the states and the contributions from the state governments. The green color actually reflect the contributions from the federal governments, and the total is in blue color. So NRAS is actually, as you can see from the diagram, it increased each year according to the CPI or inflations up to now $11,270 for 2020 and 2020, 2021. So according to the latest NRAS performance report, I think the latest one is June, there are still around 11,809 allocations available in Australia-wide. 817, around 69% of them are allocated in WA. Well, since this scheme is aimed to support housing stress, so who can actually rent NRAS home? Yes, not everyone. There is income limits for eligible NRAS tenants. As you can see from the table, for one adult to qualify renting an NRAS property, your income cannot be more than $52,324 per year. As for small family, let's say a couple with 2 children, that is quite common in here, the household income cannot be more than $10,000 and $107,055. But the government is fair enough. They allow you to have pay rise. There's the existing tenants' income limit on the second column, as you can see here, the second column. If the household incomes for the existing tenants exceed the limit in 2 consecutive NRAS years, then they will no longer eligible to rent the NRAS home. For example, for a single adult, you can have pay rise, but if your income hit the limit of 65,000, then you are no longer eligible for the NRAS property. So besides the income limit that we just gone through, come to NRAS. There is a lot of misunderstanding that NRAS is state, or government housing, which is not true. This is privately owned. I have to emphasize the selections of tenants for NRAS on non-NRAS has no difference, okay? Indeed, NRAS selection is much more strict, especially when you come to this income limit, which I just gone through. So I will say, if you are Michelle, if you can save $62 per week as the slideshow and more than $3,000 a year in the same location, same building, let's say these ones, same building, same locations, but you save $62 per week. So which one you will pick? the right one or the left one. So basically, as a tenant, as if you put yourself into Michelle's shoes, well, Michelle paid the rent on time. Well, Michelle take extra care to maintain the property so that she can stay in the same unit longer. During the worst time of leasing periods, when the vacancy rate hit 7% at one stage in Perth, whenever there is an NRAS home open, this is what you will see, long queue to inspect the property. This one was on the newspaper early in this year. 70 people lined up to look for one home. There was before we even hit the current 0.9% of vacancy rate. During the economic downturn, especially now with the COVID-19, many families are looking for affordable rental. With limited stock available in the market, this is no doubt that NRAS rentals are very popular. These are all the popular articles that we've seen recently. So what will happen to your property if your rental is 20% cheaper than the market rate? Let me also share you with one of our rental inquiry that came in for NRAS property recently. Two of them actually happens in July before the vacancy rate again, as I said, dropped to 0.9%. And then so also there is one just come in last week. The number of inquiries and applications are unbelievable. So now let's go to the most serious and figures. Okay, now we were comparing a non-NRAS property against to a property that is qualified for NRAS opportunity with the same assets. We will compare the figures side by side so you can see, right, the difference, and you can decide whether yourself, right, if investing into like NRAS makes sense or not. Remember, this is only for demonstrations and comparison purpose, okay? Because it varies, depends on individual circumstances. So always consult your professional team prior to making decisions. Property costs. As you can see, both property is identical at the purchase price of $469,000, and the same for stamp duty and settlement costs. The only difference is NRAS, you need to pay an extra $11 for the applications. But as far as I know, right, there is not. I never heard people pay that $11 anymore. But anyway, we just put in the figure because that was always, it depends which consortium that you get. So the market rent is $450 per week times 50 weeks. The annual rental is $22,500 per year. As for NRAS, the property, as mentioned, there is a 20% discount. So the rentals bring down to $360 per week, or $18,000 per year. Expenses cover the mortgage interest. For this particular example, I actually use 3%, and I know in some bank you can actually get the lower rates. Okay, and then the expenses also cover your property management fee, council rate, strata fee, water rate, insurance, and so on. You will see the expenses for NRAS is slightly higher because of the slightly higher property management fee due to the, the additional service they provide. For instance, they need to do the audits once a year. Also, there is a minor admin fee for NRAS that will be around $650. Income minus expenses, the non-NRAS is still positive, which is, as we all know, right, mainly because of the low interest rate right now in Australia. And for the NRAS property, there is a minor loss of $1,022, which is, as you can guess already, because of the discounted rental, that cannot like fully recover the expenses, which is around, I would say, around $20 loss each week. If $20 per week, you should be able to afford that. Okay. Non-cash expenses, then we will cover depreciations and LMI. LMI is loan mortgage insurance. Since this is a new property, so you basically can maximize the claim. So come to the total annual investment positions. So non-NRAS, this is positive year at $5,700.90. For NRAS property, because of the extra 11,270 tax-free incentive from the government, it brings a positive year of 11,859. Which, as you can see, the little pie chart at on the right hand side, you can see for non-NRAS, right? There is 20% is paid by the taxman, and then the green color, about 100%, more than 100%, actually 106% is actually covered by your tenants. And as for NRAS, you can see, and of course for the non-NRAS, right, you generate around $111 per week as an income, extra income. As for NRAS, right, the pie chart, you can see there are three country, your silent partner, I would say a better way. So 20%, 20.86% actually from the taxman, from our ATO, through your tax refund. And 51.23% actually through NRAS, which is more than half. And then the big portions, the green, the darker greens color, that is around 81.82%. That is contributed by the tenants. So your three silent partner actually contribute the investment property for you. There is nothing contributed by you as an investor. That's why you didn't see any red color in the pie chart. For NRAS properties, right, you basically get a positive gear around $228 per week. So before I start to do another calculations, okay, the calculation I done just now is based on one of our property in Cannington, okay, called the Mod Unit 8. This is another one that I would like to share with you. Before I do the calculations, right, let's assume you have $474 cash in hand right now. If you put the money in Hong Kong SSBC, let's say, yeah, as a fixed deposit, the current interest rate is around 0.15% per annum, okay, 0.15. So if you put this 474,000 cash in a bank, your interest is around $711, 711, okay, $711. If you put the money in Australia Commonwealth banks, the interest rate is slightly better at 0.6 per annum. So the total interest that you can earn per year will be around 2,844. So now, what if you decide to invest the money into Australia property? Let's see the comparison for non-NRAS and NRAS side by side again. This time, I'm using, as I mentioned, right, I'm using one of our Wechat project in Beckenham. House and land that you pay only the stamp duty on land as an example. Again, the property cost is identical, and the difference is $11 for the NRAS applications fee. For rental incomes, non-NRAS, the market rent is for the one bedroom in ground floor is around $300 per week. Times 50 weeks make up the total of $15,000 per year. So the upper level, which is a 2-bedroom unit, you rent out at $320 per week. Annual rental is $16,000. Make a total rental of this non-NRAS property at $31,000 per year. Now, for NRAS property, we are going to put the credit to only the ground floor. Okay, so that is, again, you can free to do that. So we discounted the rental for the ground floor, the $300 per week to $240 per week. So, I mean, 20% discount, that is $60. So which make the annual rental of $12,000. Okay. Upper level, it will be the same as the non-NRAS. So it will generate $320 per week. So there will be $16,000 per year. So make the total of income $28,000 per year. As for the expenses, again, it's cover mortgage, it covers strata, council rate, water rate, insurance, property management fee, and slightly different against is due to the property management fee. As I mentioned just now, because this will be a cash buy, so there is no mortgage insurance, mortgage interest. Sorry about that. And again, there is a $650 admin fee for NRAS property. The total net positions for the non-NRAS is 24,600 per year. So let's say if you didn't put your $474 in cash, I mean into the fixed D, if you choose to buy a NRAS property, especially like this one, your return on the investment is 5.2%. As for NRAS, the positive year is $32,040 per year. Of course, with the 11,270 tax-free incentive from the government, which make your rental on, which make your return on investment 6.8%. Okay, as compared to earlier, you know, either you got 0.6% from Commonwealth Bank or 0.15%, right, from the Hong Kong HSBC Bank. And you have to notice that's right. The calculations that I have done so far, right, I didn't bring into account the possible capital growth in long run. So yes, as mentioned, right, not all property in Australia come with NRAS, and NRAS investments, right, is very selective. We have quite a number of projects, to be honest, that come with NRAS. Today, I will just briefly go through 4 of them. The first one is the Crest in Burswood, which is only 4 kilometers from our CBD. It takes around 6 minutes. Okay, and the second one is called Mort. Is a housing, is a landed property, and then it is 9 kilometers from the CBD. The third one is Verocity, which is 10 kilometers from the CBD. And the last one is Camberwell. This is the Verocity property, which is 12 kilometers away from the CBD. So these are all the new properties, okay? Because as I mentioned just now, right, to qualify for NRAS, right, you need to be new property. Okay? And to be honest, right, as for an investors, right, you actually can maximize your claim towards the depreciations, which is actually bring you more tax benefits. So the first one that I would like to show is the Verocity in Cannington. This is off the plans apartments that will be complete by end of this year, and 120 units. I mean, in the whole buildings, is only 40 of them with the NRAS allocations, and we sold out 32 of them, and we still have 8 to go. And the next one is the Crest. Okay, this is again is the apartment, is the established apartment that has been complete May of last year, and located in a very prime area in Perth called Burswood. We have 168 units, and it's only 7 of them have the NRAS allocations. Okay. Mort is the townhouse, as I introduced just now. So it's the combinations of apartment and townhouse. So there are 15 townhouse and 5 apartments. It just complete beginning of this year. So we have 5 allocations that we just get last month. So we just start to sell NRAS with this property. And the next one is Camberwell Gardens. Altogether, we've had 9 units, and we only have 3 available. And again, as I mentioned just now, this is a house and land package. As you know, in Australia, right, if you buy house and lands, right, stamp duty is basically paid only on the land. So, which if you're looking to save your land, I mean the stamp duties, right, this will be one of those you can consider. Okay. This is the summary of the grants that is available in WA right now. So home builder grants by federal government that is available for every state, so which is mainly for owner occupied and citizen. There are 3 additional grants or rebate that is exclusively for WA, which can access by investor, included foreigner. The first one is the 20,000 building bonus, but the contract must be signed before 31st of December, which means the end of this year. So you have to sign the contract by end of this year and build by next year, before against 31st of December. The second one is the 75% stamp duty rebates for pre-construction project. And these were kept at 50,000, which will last until October of 2021. And the last one, the fourth one is the 75% stamp duty rebates for constructing property. And against, this one is kept at 25,000, which will last until the end of this year. The last 2 grants actually is more for first home buyer, not investor. So basically, these are the 3 that, that overseas buyers can enjoy or investor can enjoy, which you can see from this column. Okay. So I would like to end my talk today with this Perth medium house price diagram. This is what happened with WA property medium price for the last 10 years. We all know in the past, right, WA property is almost double in every 10 years. Of course, the market is not always smooth. Sometimes it's go up, sometimes it's go down, and sometimes it remains stagnant for a couple of years. WA medium price has actually declined for the last 5 years. We are not sure when will we see the growth again. Because of that, right, it is so crucial that we can afford to hold the property for as long as possible. So is that worth to consider NRAS that come with the positive cash flow? I will leave these questions with you to decide. So due to the time constraints, I can't go through everything in depth. I have our contact details in the next slide. So if you're keen to find out more or how you can participate in these schemes, right, please get in touch with us. Thank you very much. Lian's back to you, in case there is any questions.
Thank you, Lily, for such an insightful and very exciting topic about the investment. And thank you for the calculation as well. It's very obvious when you compare 2 properties, same property with and without NRAS, you can see the huge difference in terms of return. I hope everyone managed to get the contact detail for IQI Australia or IQI WA if you need to find out a little bit more, because like what Lily said, everyone's situation is a little bit different. So yeah, our property strategists can sit down with you and go through your case and then show you how you can benefit from it. I'm glad to say that 80% of our staff member are investor, and I think most of them has owned at least one NRAS property. So that is encouraging to hear, because then they can share their actual life experience with you. So imagine if the agent that introducing the product to you that who have not done it or bought it themselves, they will not be able to share that experience with you. So yeah, most of our agents have that, which is good. Let me just quickly go through our chat room and see is there any comment or question. And we got a comment from Elena, said, thanks again, Lily, for the resourceful sharing. Right, looks like we haven't got any question yet, but I do have one question for you, Lily. Actually, I got few. Actually, one of the question I kind of already answered it. This is a question from one of my friend that privately just texted me and asked, is there any limit on how many NRAS that one person can own?
That is a limit you set yourself. There is no limit on that. You can get as many as possible. I actually have one client, right? He has 5 property. Only 2 is NRAS. The 3 is just the ordinary property, which is good enough for him, right? I just see his tax return this year. earning 116,000, and then he paid like 33,000 tax. End up he get 53,000 back this year.
So
He
he's actually
doesn't
getting more than what he paid.
You can have a lot of NRAS, as I say, but even you have only 2 would be good enough. I mean, it's not too bad, right? You pay 33,000 as a tax, and then you get 53,000 back. I think it's a good, good reference. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. That means I don't need to buy anymore. Right. Next question. You talk about all the different grants that's available in the market now. A lot of them are specifically for WA. And is it possible to get NRAS and still enjoy this WA grant at the same time?
Definitely. So currently, right, the projects that I have just gone through, like for instance, Camperville, okay? Camperville, you actually can get the house bonus grant, the 20,000. Not a lot of money, but if you're looking at the price, right, 454,000, right, 20,000 is almost like 5%. So which is good, okay? So and also we have the another project, Verocity, which I also mentioned. So we still have 8 units to go. And that one, beside the grants, beside the stamp duty rebate, kept at 25,000, the developer actually offer extra. So the developer actually will pay the 25%. On top, right, there is a discount, cash discount at settlement, and also there is a free upgrade for the aircon. I think that is quite a good deal. So grant and also the developer private grants. You know,
Right.
even like I didn't mention mods, right? Mods also have the incentive because the developer understand they are quite of like, you know, bad luck because the construction has been finished and complete, right, before all the grants been announced. So the developer is willing to give developer personal grants as an incentive. So that projects, right, we can give like 25% discounts, and also like, you know, it depends, you go for a townhouse or apartment. But talk to our staff if you want to find out more. Yeah.
Sounds like a perfect time to buy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm such a salesperson. As I just scrolled through all the comment, I saw Curtis make a comment about that as well. The question that I actually asked. So in WA, you can get NRAS and 100% stamp duty rebate at the moment. So that is, I think, what you said. So good job on that.
Yeah.
Now the NRAS payment, do you get paid weekly, or how do you? How do you get paid?
To be honest, right, this is one of the questions, right, that I get quite regularly. Because people always ask me, right, wow, NRAS is so good. What is the, you know, disadvantage for that? I would say, right, you still remember just now I mentioned, right, there will be 1,000 shortfall for the cash before you, that's you can claim your tax. That is 1,000. If you cannot afford that $20 short per week, right, $20 per week, yeah, you better don't touch, okay? Don't touch NRAS. Because you only will get the NRAS incentive once a year. Okay, even though it's split into 2, so the first parts, right, will usually come in around May to July. It depends because some consortiums, right, they work very fast, so you will get that 25% into your bank accounts around May or June. Some of them is slightly more detailed, it takes longer time, so you may get it around August or September, but you will definitely get that 25%. As for the 75%, right, because it's come from the federal government through the tax returns, so you will only get the certificate after the financial year ends, which will be at least, you know, after the 30th of June. Yeah. So will be paid by yearly or annually. Yeah.
All right. So it will be an annual payment. So make sure you actually have that cash budget to hold it until then the following year, end of the year, and it will be like a big bonus. Then you get a big lump sum back.
Exactly. Yeah. Just like the calculation I shows, right? That is a 1,000 shot. That you make sure you have $1,000 to on hold with that shot. Then by the ends, right? Then you get 11,000 back. Yeah.
Sounds very good.
1,000 to exchange with 11,000, but people will still complain.
And you also mentioned that the scheme will finish in 2026. And how rigid is this scheme? Is there any flexibility in that? Say if I bought one property with NRAS and then I kind of change my plan, like is there anything that can be done, or how flexible is that?
Oh, you mean when you buy a NRAS property, like let's say 2 years later, before 2026, you say now I give up, I can't afford the $1,000, I want to sell it.
I'd say if I want to move in and live in there.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. So all you need to do is return the credit back to the consortium, or you can sell. Let's say if you are going to sell the property, so you can sell to a buyer who willing to take over the NRAS. If they say no, when I buy, I'm going to move in, so you just return the credit to the consortium. So the consortium, when they get the allocations, the credits back, right, they will allocate to another property.
Okay, that sounds very flexible. That means I don't get locked in for that all the way to 6 years and I can't do anything about it. So it sounds like I can stop anytime, I can sell it, and it's totally all under my control.
Yeah. To be honest, like, if you're earning $11,000 per year, I cannot understand why you sell it. Because $11,000, right, let's say, right, it's just more or less like working in a part-time, but you don't need to work, but you sleep, you got 11,000. Like, why you sell this property? Because it's a part-time income.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one question here. So is the federal government tax offset component, which is the 75% part, is that like a taxable income deduction?
Come again, taxable offset income?
Yeah, I think the question is with the 75% that, we're claiming through the tax return, is that the income deduction?
Okay, yes.
Can you explain how they do that maybe? Yeah.
Okay, easy. So let's say in this year, you need to pay the government, okay, $100, okay? So basically, right, this $100 will be deduct from your 7,000 or your 75,000, okay? If this year, there's no tax, zero tax year, so you will get the full lump sum through the, the RTO, okay, full amounts back from the government as a refund. But if this year you're supposed to get 10,000 from the government, as a tax return, so your 10,000 will plus the 11,270, so will become like $21,270. So that's how it's worked. That's what we call tax offsets. Yeah.
Okay. I hope I answered that question, Curtis. And another comment is more about a tenant. And we heard that some NRAS investor that their tenants are mostly very reliable and they are able to keep the property clean and tidy. Totally agree with that, like what you shared before, because the tenant really want to stay because they're paying less rent. So they will look after your property like their own, so they don't get kicked out. So yes, thanks for that comment, Alina. Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah. Just remember, this is just a normal property. Yeah.
Let me just quickly go through, see is there any other more question for us, and look like that will be it. Is there anything that you want to add on about the NRAS, Lily, other than buying?
I wish I can buy more. Just the bank don't want to lend money anymore. So basically, right, what I'm thinking is, right, because come to property investments, right, what people is looking at is reduce tax in Australia, especially, and also to create wealth. So NRAS, right, is basically, right, you have three people. So your taxman, your tenants, the third one is the combination of the state governments and the federal governments. Basically, they are your silent partner. They are helping you to help you to pay your investment property. You as an investor, you don't actually, because this is positive gear from day one, you don't actually come out with a single cent to own a property. To be honest, right, sometimes I also think too good to be true. But because I have selling NRAS properties since 2011, so even me myself, I have property that's under NRAS as well. So tenant always pay on times, and I always claim my tax, and the government always pay on times. So I really don't know what will be better than this. This is my personal opinion. I really think this is one of the best, okay, property investment scheme provided by this Australian governments. Yeah,
it is true, because especially for people who work here, they get to do the full negative gearing situation, you know, reduce your taxable income. At the same time, you get that tax-free incentive, which is the positive cash in, just like what Derek has mentioned in the comment section. So it's a negative gear with positive cash flow investment property. So
and the 11,000 is tax-free.
Yeah. So 11,000 is tax-free, so it will not increase your taxable income. Just one quick last question. Can you actually buy this NRAS property under a trust, say like a self-managed super fund sort of thing?
Yep, you can. You can actually buy as a parent and rent it to your kids who is a student, of course got income and qualified.
That sounds exciting. Actually, we cross-checked that with the NRAS consortium people before when we did the training for property management. They have actually said that it is, it is okay.
They cannot buy as kids, right? Kids is still a possible tenants, right?
True, very true. All right, let's have a look. So we don't have any more questions, and then we are closing to 9 o'clock. So thank you again, Lily, for the wonderful sharing and talking about best, well, in our opinion, one of the best investment scheme in Australia, which is NRAS. If you have any question, feel free to PM us and put a comment on our Facebook. We will get in touch with you. And I just want to do a quick advertisement for next week. So in 2 weeks' time, then we will have another Facebook live session. And this time we are going to talk about education. So basically studying in Australia, Perth, Australia. So we'll have a guest speaker come along and talk to us about that topic. So if you would like to find out, or if you have relative or friend or family planning to send their children to study overseas, like here to Perth, this is a session not to be missed. We will post more information next week, and I will let you know the time and everything else. So, once again, thanks, Lily. We're going to end the session for this evening. If anyone have any question, feel free to drop us a message. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.